Hi, this is Randy, and we're back now with the actual installation of PF1. In earlier videos, we overviewed the project and looked at what we needed to do, and then after that, we went ahead and built the virtual in Client Hyper-V. I want to just take a quick minute and jump back and just look at our PDF. During the initial part of the installation, we will need to answer some questions. We're going to need to be able to identify this address here and also the um, the gateway value, and same for the LAN interface. On the LAN interface, we're going to need to be able to identify what our internal address is and assign that. A couple other questions will be asked. We talked about that one of the gotchas is to be able to associate the right virtual network card as being WAN and the right one as being LAN, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'll move this out of the way. Okay. So go ahead now and start the virtual. So we mounted the ISO, we built it, pretty light build, 2 gig of RAM, 8 gig hard drive, 2 CPU. The download for pfSense is pretty small. Okay, it's progressing along nicely. We've talked about how that you can run this on an old computer, you can run it on, there's appliances, there's all kinds of stuff. pfSense does come from a company. Netgate is the parent company, or the company that has a business around pfSense. They sell appliances, they provide support, and we've just got that it is copyrighted, even though it's open source and freely available for us to use. There are conditions with which we use it under. So here we are to this screen where it's asking us if we want to install or go to a console or to recover. When you back up pfSense, it saves the configuration as an XML file. So great options here, and I've been working with pfSense for a number of years, and I've never had to do any of these. Um, I haven't. We run about half of our pfSense boxes as virtuals, and the other half is physical. And there's some strong arguments about not running your firewall that's on the edge between your company and the internet as a virtual. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that. For training purposes, it runs very well as a virtual. We're using Client Hyper-V. It runs very well in normal Hyper-V and also in ESXi. So here you have a choice based upon your keyboard layout. Um, you can pick, and we're good with the default. This question warrants just a moment of our time, in that you'll see you'll see this step anytime, pretty much anytime you install a Linux or Unix based operating system, in that we give it a chunk of data. We gave it 8 gigabytes for hard drive, but it doesn't use drive loaders, and it does use, though, partitions, and there's a number of them. Where with a Windows machine, we'll typically put everything on one partition, but not in Unix Linux. And so you have the choice here of you going in and saying how you want the hard drive divided up, how big for a swap file, how big for log files, and so on. Or you can let it do it, and it does a good job letting it do it. But if you were to build a career in Linux Unix, then you would have some input on how you wanted the hard drive divided based upon what the server was going to do. This is going to be a dedicated box for us, and I'm very comfortable with letting the pfSense algorithm take our 8 gigabyte hard drive and divide it up. The installation itself goes pretty fast. It's when it reboots, there is a couple of periods of time where you have to wait. The longest wait, as I recall, is when it boots up after we get through this, it'll reboot. It waits for a DHCP address on the WAN interface, and it's just no way around it. Okay, the installation is finished, but you can open a shell, a command prompt to make any final manual modifications, and no, we don't need to do that. And we can go ahead now and reboot. We've got to find a place here in the reboot where we can go ahead and disconnect the DVD drive. We don't want it to try a second install. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold tight right here, and I'm going to, I'm at 5.5 minutes on the video, but I want you to see this, that I am going to go in here to settings, and I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the DVD drive. So we'll do that, take that away. And also, I want to go pick up, oh, I closed it, excuse me. I want to go pick up my MAC addresses. Let's go right here, settings. Okay, so I go into, remember this one is the one that we want for WAN. And really all I need is the last 2 characters, but I'll take the last 4. So I'm making a note on a piece of paper here that for my WAN interface, which is tied to my external network, my last digits on the MAC address are C807. And just to be thorough here, let's go look at the same on the LAN interface. Very similar, but I'm making a note on paper here. So C808 is my LAN interface. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video, and I'll start another video where we go through part 2 of the command prompt type installation, where we're going to be asked some questions, and we're going to have to fill in some information. Okay, so hang tight and I'll be back in just a moment.